last question I wanted to ask you guys again. At the time, before you guys became a therapist and you were actually aspiring to become a therapist and you were in your programs, did you know or become aware that your personal triggers could affect your job in the future? Like, you know, as therapists, some people become therapists because it kind of helps curb their, you know, their personal struggles early on, or how to maybe help get over that time of their life. And maybe they want to help someone else get over theirs. So did you guys see that? You know, not, you don't have to obviously disclose any of that, but just in that process of, I am aware that this can happen, but I'm going to continue this anyway.
I think I was definitely aware that this was going to happen, but not until that first client that came in through the door and really revealed, like, was almost like a reflection of my own like negative experiences or my own trauma, did I really feel like the impact of it. But it was something that, like, I was always kind of like intellectually, I guess, aware in like literature and like reading about, you know, all of this stuff with therapy and how, you know, your personal triggers will come out, and you know, in a psychodynamic term is transference, right? That sort of reaction, you know, to those of you that are listening out there, that sort of reaction when a client sort of expresses something in the room, and it sort of brings you back to this sort of memory just based on what the client is doing in front of you. But it wasn't until that you know, a client came in and was, you know, having issues with you know, their mom, and how they, you know, it was essentially what I had been going through, you know, and going through this single parent experience, and also what it was like to also have, you know, a sibling that was going through substance abuse problems, and all of that essentially just like floored me. And I was like, man, like, I always knew that this was going to happen, but now it's here in the fucking room. Like, how do I fucking try to put that away for now and try to be present, but still feel so shook, because it's almost like that same experience.
Did you feel like at that moment that being a therapist is what you really wanted to do, although like your own personal feelings came out?
Well, I think I still felt like, you know, this is I want to be a therapist, right? I see the suffering because I can feel it, because I know that I kind of feel that empathy. Like, I understand that you're going through this really hard moment and you're trying to kind of dig yourself out of it. You're trying to find a way out. That's what I have always been trying to do as well with my own triggers and my trauma. And so at that point, it was kind of like almost like in a weird way, sort of like a validation of like why I'm doing the things that I'm doing, because I see the suffering and I can finally fully connect at that like soul personal level, right? A lot of being a therapist is like learning the listening skills, finding that empathy, trying to kind of pull it out from your own experience. But when it's like right there, almost like the same thing, then, you know, but it can be scary also, you know, like, shit, is this really what I want to do? Like, all of this trauma is coming back to my own experience. I'm being brought back to what it was like growing up as a, you know, in a single family with, you know, some abuse going on and everything like that. And again, you know, internally you're kind of shaking a little bit, but you're kind of still trying to, luckily all that training is helping you to stay present.
I think choosing the vocational track of becoming a therapist is the path of an empath, right? Like you're saying, like, I see the suffering, and I think that question naturally leads us to some of our triggers, you know, and some of our own traumas that we grow up with, and being this wounded healer, right? That's where it becomes this master of arts in this counseling psychology and not just scientific. Right, like we can read a lot of these randomized clinical trials and know that these certain strategies mixed with this psychoeducation, you know, will take you down this path. But I think that the the heart and soul, the path of an empath, and you know, being this therapist, it does bring you to that. And you know, I go to therapy a lot of times, you know, in my own personal time, and I like to deal with some of my triggers, and some of that is in my personal life, and some of that is in my professional life, for sure. You know, I think it's natural, especially when we're dealing with so many feelings. Then you got all kinds of intergenerational systems afloat. Like, for example, my dad is an engineer. Like, my brother is an engineer. My cousin is an aerospace engineer. You know, like, so it's like there's these family traits, right? And being, you know, those experiences that also shape you, right? You know, but then at the same time, like, I chose being an empath. I chose being, you know, talking about feelings all day instead of being an engineer, despite the fact that I like to build things. So I, you know, I see it on both sides, right? Like, there's trauma, you know, that's obviously part of the work, and, you know, seeing the suffering and that empathy. But then there's that other side too of, you know, where this question leads me, and just what are some of the other experiences that have shaped our wanting to become a therapist? That's my vocation. You know, that's 3 of our vocations here out of the 4 of us in the room. You know, I think another part of it, just real life talk, you know, I didn't like being low income growing up. You know, there were sometimes some not the best environments. There were also some financial hardships, you know. I remember when my mom and Godfather had to sell their house. Like, that sucks. You know, and I knew that, like, education was going to be my track to get myself out of that low income status, you know, but becoming a therapist allowed me to do that too. I'm never going to be probably rich, you know, but it gets me enough to live comfortably, man. And that was another decision that I made, you know, is doing something that I like, doing something that I can do, doing something that I like, and it's a vocation. It's a living. It's a means of living, but I like it, dude. It's a little bit of everything, man. Vocation tugs at all those life domains.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I think for me, I think when I was 16, 17, and I was like, yo, I'm going to be this therapist, I didn't think about, like, oh, the other side of things about like why I felt like I was so good and such a great listener and so willing to, like, help people, and then probably sliding into, like, the first year of grad school. Oh, yeah, hurt people definitely like to help other people with hurt and pain. And, oh, that backfires. So quickly learned that. But I don't know. I definitely feel like there was some additional you know, selfish reasons to become a therapist. I think eventually it would peak out of, like, oh, here's an easy way to get therapy, or to, like, you know, figure out the manual to humans and beings and feelings and whatnot, and, you know, being able to tinker with my own stuff. The money also counts, because, I mean, I'm definitely surprised about how much we're making because all of my life I've definitely heard teachers and people who are therapists say, hey, you actually don't make that much, which I'm like, this is way more than that $400 every 2 weeks at Target. So I'm living right now. Living. So
I am living comfortably.
Man.
Living comfortably.
It's definitely a challenge. I definitely feel like there's some...
I mean, we made it into career mode too, though, bro, right? We're at a different level.
Top tier. So I
we
mean,
got the comma next to the name, bro. There's
they
the
did not
comma.
tell us about this, though. So that's the thing.
The comma and those initials right there, the AMFT.
Exactly. Or the LMFT, when that comes in. That's another ballpark. So, but yeah, I think every now and then I brush up against my things, my issues, my, like, past traumas, or just, like, little, I guess, idiosyncrasies of just, like, you know, that we have to untangle or be mindful of as we move forward. But I mean, I think since, man, I think since, like, undergrad, like, you know how you have that feeling of, like, look, if I drop out, I'm selling drugs. That's it. Like, there's nothing else I would rather be doing. It'll be this. And as I tell, like, love yours, like, I'm a horrible drug dealer. So this is my only option, guys.
This has to work.
This has to work. Or else, fuck, I may have to go see Jeremy.
Come
You have to
on
be out.
over, bro. Come on over. We'll figure it out. I think related to John's question though, a lot of it dealt for me was to get out. Find a way to get out. To change the culture in my family and let my siblings know that there is a path, that you guys can take. But I hated the situation that I was in. For me, a long time, I had no friends come over my house. Like, there was no friend company. Like, I was always going to their house to chill. And then, it's just like, shame, embarrassment. Like, for a while, it was, again, it's out of my control. There's nothing that I can do other than go to school, right? And try to be on my best behavior to not piss my mom off, So, a lot of it, yeah, I mean, stemmed from there. But it's definitely a career that I say worth the wait and worth the struggle for, trying to pursue, Definitely feel grateful going through that. All the struggle, like I felt like there have been moments in my life I've been very impatient with where I was at. Like I knew I was gonna get somewhere. I was just like, I wanted to know when. Like I'm tired of this. Like mentally, it was draining for me. So I think most of us can relate, if not all of us, and just like, I want to start my life. I want to put that in the distance and be like, focus on me, focus on my life and my daughter, and take it from there. So
I hear you, man. And it's almost like you kind of like like you said, these pivotal moments, and I don't want to ramble on, but personally, I also see myself kind of like reaching this point where I'm trying to finish up my hours. I consider myself an associate MFT, and I will be a licensed marriage and family therapist in the future. And that is then another fucking moment where I'm just going to reevaluate what I can do, because so many more options are going to be presented, and I'm going to have that conversation and I feel like I'm already having that conversation, like, do I always want to work with kids? What else do I want to do with my license? Is therapy and providing a clinical service something that I want to do, for a long time, or do I want to kind of be more versatile with my license? Or do I just want to keep it for the title and do something else? That real question of like all of that, and what do I want to focus on? What is the priority right now, and what's in front of me? So I do see that these vocational skills are coming in real quick for me. So, I'm looking forward to it, but it's going to be a trip.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things about, if we talk about goals and what you're pursuing or school and everything that's being really hard, I think on the other end of it, I think everybody's looking at that last goal, and that last goal in mind. If I can get to that, then I can live my life. And that's how we've either been trained to do it, or that's how we just always have seen things. Whether it's been hard to just say, hey, when I get to graduation, man, I can just let this load off and just take a break, or that's when my life begins. That's when I'm gonna have my kids. That's when I'm gonna, finally get to do what I want to do. Finally get to work with the population. Finally get to work on that project. And sometimes when you get to that, then it's like, well, shit, what do you do now? And you just gotta be able to be ready to enjoy it. Actually, just take on those opportunities, and at least have an idea of what's next. But definitely don't forget about celebrating those wins. Don't forget ready. Don't forget to have that drink once you get that
when
doctor's.
When you're of age.
Well,
when you're of age.
How many of us
for those
had,
listeners out there?
how many of us have abstained from the drink?
John, why is the mic so far away?
No comment.
But yeah, man, definitely. There's this whole journey of self-discovery and career exploration. It's just for oneself it's an incredible journey. Most people, when you actually get to where you want to go, you have that lot of fulfillment, that gratitude, appreciation for those who helped you along the way. And I think, again, all of you guys and Lou and myself and other therapists and whoever are out there and helping on individuals, whether it's therapy or vocational services, there's just, we're not looking to solve your issues. We're just trying to help you navigate them and, overcome them along the way. That way you can make the best informed decision that you can make. Here are the services that we help. This is the best possible, strategy you can take to use. And, I think for myself and we all can relate to that. And we made the decisions to go the way we wanted to go because we felt that this was the best decision for us, for ourselves. And I think that's, we have to try to help our clients understand and go forward. So, but yeah, I mean, again, this small discussion, hopefully it reaches others and, definitely inspires other people to look into their eternal, clock or eternal, however you want to word it, but self-discovery and just career exploration, and just understand like your journey is your journey, no one else's. That's it.
Well, I appreciate you bringing this topic into Therapy House, Jay. There's therapy is not just a cookie cutter or traditional. It's so versatile, and there's so many different ways that people can have these experiences.
That's all, folks.
Therapy House out.
Thanks again, everybody, for tuning into Therapy House. Here to remind you to check out our Linktree at Linktree/therapy_house. There you can find all the links for our podcast website, the different platforms that we are broadcasting on, individual links to our personal pages. Like, comment, rate, and review our podcast so that we can grow. And of course, subscribe so that you'll be the first to know when we drop something new. Until then, we'll see you next time.